welcome back. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation, along with
CJ Lou from the Fire It Up with CJ show. Woohoo!
if you've ever wanted to improve or upgrade your life or simply get ahead, then do we have the Taking Care of Business show for you. Today we'll talk about how to get moving, get going, and get things done you've always wanted to or need to. That plus we'll talk about birthday celebrations, optimization of content, daily tune-ins, Amazon events and spheres. Not sure what that means. Flu strikes, starting new classes, getting to the beach, dad in the gym, making green smoothies, ultrasound adventures, and what in the world Mike Tyson and 7 teeth has to do with anything.
Okay.
So welcome back to the show, CJ. Are you ready to shine?
I am ready to shine.
Woo-hoo! All right, let's start with something positive. Birthday celebration.
Okay. So my birthday was on February 15th. We haven't talked for a couple of weeks. So
Happy birthday, CJ.
thank you. Yeah. So it was a really nice birthday and kind of a calm, peaceful birthday. Nice walk outside, nice dinner, but a very nice birthday. And we're going to go to our next birthday celebration. It was kind of an in-home kind of celebration. And then in mid-March, we're going to go to San Francisco for kind of a midweek break to go visit San Francisco. So,
Very,
yeah.
it's interesting that your birthday coincided. Yours is the 15th, you said?
Uh-huh.
So mom's is the 15th as well.
I know you told me that your mom's birthday is February 15th, so she's an Aquarius. Good luck to you.
So
I have so many now. I'm all these Aquariuses are coming out of the woodwork now. I'm ending up being friends with a lot of Aquariuses, but not just recently.
So I flew out and made it there with like an hour to spare on my mom's birthday because there was some snow out here and had to fly out of the snowy airport, but made it out for my mom's birthday on the 15th, came back on my dad's birthday on the 19th. And for the first time since I was
Wait, you flew
kid,
there and back twice, or I'm confused.
No. So I flew from Colorado on the 15th, arrived at just about 11 p.m. in Fort Lauderdale, Colorado.
Florida.
Thank you. And spent 4 or 5 days in Florida, and then got to join my parents and my dad for lunch, more or less, and then on the 19th, and then flew back to Colorado. So I got both birthdays there.
Oh, I get it. So both of your parents are Aquarius.
Yes. And what was so cool to me is I hadn't done this since I was a child, or been there for both of their birthdays. And it's kind of on this theme of, if not now, then when?
Yeah. How old are your parents?
They're 78 and 76.
Yeah.
So why not take that time? There's been a couple gifts or miracles in my dad's life already, which leads us into green smoothies, but why not take that time now? Mm-hmm. Don't wait till next year. Don't wait till the next opportunity. I looked at my calendar and said, well, I have to shift a few things around, but why not?
Yeah. Yeah. Right around your time was when any of my mommy and daddy issues, or it was really my mom because my dad had passed away, any of my mommy issues, I was kind of really digging deep into for exactly this reason. I thought, when I get together, I find myself still feeling like an agitation and irritation, and it's residue from unresolved things that need to be healed up. And so I did all of that work, and I set proper boundaries. And it was like 3 or 4 years of kind of rough, I'm not talking to you for a while until I can figure my stuff out, because what you did hurt me so much. But so she knew, whoops, before I would have just taken it. And then I did work on myself during, a 3 or 4 year period. And now we have a pretty neutral relationship, but mostly because I didn't want to go into, it's she's getting older. Trying to still resolve mommy and daddy issues when you get at a certain age it's just lost opportunity.
Yeah. So we've been doing a lot of that work, and it's absolutely miraculous. You can catch it on YouTube. We just posted it today on iTunes. We did a YouTube live with my parents.
Oh, you did?
It was so cool, CJ. It is one of the coolest things that I've done. I was nervous beforehand, no more nervous than any other interview, but I went in having no idea where we were going to end up
Where
going.
did you end up going?
Well, we talked about rewiring, and we shared a bit about my story about how I used to be a complete and total squirrel on crack, worst discipline problem at school or worst student at school, and how I worked to rewire my mind and what my parents did on this journey along the way, and it was really fascinating.
Because is it the first time you've heard your parents' perspective about your personal journey, or what was fascinating for you?
Well, I have heard their perspective individually, but to put your parents on the mic in front of thousands and thousands of people and to see how they'll do and how they'll share and will there be and okay, we all want something that I was gifted with on this show, and that is we all want our parents to say you did good, you made it. And I got that on the show. And I wasn't planning for that on the show. But
Oh,
it was
wow.
the sweetest thing because I was the black sheep in the family.
Yeah.
I was the one going continuously in the, quote, wrong direction. When will Michael shape up? When will he get his act together? Why
Right.
won't he do this? We're not going to help you anymore. You've got to figure this out on your own.
Right.
It may not be your fault, Michael, but it's your problem. These were the things, the messages I got. And then to have them on air going, oh my God, you made it. You did good.
Oh,
We're
that's
so
great.
proud of you.
Oh,
It's
wow. Wow.
really, really special, CJ.
Yeah, that is special. That probably felt very reaffirming
Thank
and
you.
like, yes, yeah. Wow, that's great. So, how does that have anything to do with green smoothies?
Oh, very little, except that my dad has gotten to a point with his health, and he's had a couple health scares and come out okay, that he's actually willing to try different things with his diet. And this is someone who doesn't change habits easily. And last week we are going to talk about it as a micro habit making show. And today I called it the Getting Things Done show. But I taught him how to make a green smoothie. And then I practiced. I had him make the smoothie one morning, him make the smoothie the next morning, and
That's
the next
great.
morning. And now we're 10 days or so in, and I called him up this morning as I'm doing my interview prep, which is rare
Right.
to get me out of my book.
Right.
And I'm like, how did the green smoothie go this morning? And he goes, I haven't done it yet, but he gets up later than me. He's like, but it will be happening again this morning. And we built that habit, and he's starting to feel better. He got some headaches in the beginning because he's such I think, a bread and carboholic and caffeine drinker too.
Oh, the
And
caffeine,
pulling him
yeah.
away from some of that. Maybe it was just the caffeine,
Yeah,
but
it's
he's
probably
feeling
caffeine.
better on the backside. And he was saying too, if not now, then when?
Yeah.
And he's done it. And he really surprised me. Then he hurt his back a little bit a few weeks ago, and he actually went on YouTube and started looking up exercises you can do with a sore back to get your back better. Blew me away because he's usually very, very slow to change. He'll hear the things that I have to offer one year, the next year, the next year, but now he's doing it.
Well, what I think is so great is that there are all these self-help tools. When I was in Hawaii, I took a yoga class that I found online. It was 45 minutes. It's not as strenuous as a yoga class that I would do in a class, because it's online and they don't really know your skill level. But it was pretty good. It was pretty darn good. And there were some advanced moves I was really shocked that they showed online. And my dear friend that I went for a walk yesterday said that she would go to PT, but it just takes so long. And, you have to drive to the PT, find a PT, go to a PT, come back from the PT. And then even when you are doing the exercises, you may be doing them wrong. And so she said that she has a Microsoft Xbox, and they have a thing that can look at your body. If it's recording your body, and it will know, like, oh no, move your shoulder to the right. So they have these PT exercises that you do, and they'll actually look at your body and tell you whether you're doing it correctly or not. So that's what she does. She does her PT exercises online now, which I thought, oh, how brilliant that is.
That is mind blowing because I can remember in my first days at the Olympic Training Center, they would tape little bits of aluminum foil on you so that they could get marks on your body for the original like CAD equipment so many years ago. And now you can just go and buy an Xbox and have it analyzed at home. That is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, there was no nodes or anything. It's basically just looks at the outlines. It can actually pick out, I don't know how it can designate where your body is in space, but it can. And so it can actually look at the model, look at you, and know where you're not completely in line. So I thought that that was amazing. So you're taking classes too. What kind of classes are you taking?
Well, we're actually teaching new classes. We've got a coaching certification program.
Oh, wow.
That we've been asked for years to do, and so we're starting that. Just started it last night.
Oh, cool.
And I was, admittedly, the last couple weeks have been a little bit flip-flopped for us, and I was very happy, exceptionally happy with how it turned out. You always get such butterflies before you start things.
Yeah.
Particularly when you start something that's been coming for years and you're finally doing it. And then that creative angst all starts to melt away as you're on your mic. There's no point worrying about it now. What are you going to do? You've got Zoom going. I was so excited about that. And that actually leads us to our next one, which we're building a learning center. Jessica was like, do we call it a woohoo center? Do we call it a holodeck? What do we call this thing?
Right.
A place where people can come and you look online and you have all these different areas you can get assistance in,
cool.
And videos and programs that we're building. And I'm up for name suggestions. We're building this now. And it's interesting, the work was supposed to be mainly Jessica's. Well, Jessica would not like it if I said it that way, but she was spearheading this. Mm-hmm. But because she's pregnant again, she's exhausted. And so I am committing time each day to get out of the busy work and to take at least 30 minutes. I think I'm going to have to up that significantly. Maybe it's an hour a day or more to be working on this program. It's another piece of, if not now, then when?
Right.
Let's find a way to get this going, which is really what this year is about.
Yeah, I think it's a great thing because once you have a baby, there's just so much of a learning curve that my colossal mistake that I made is I got pregnant and came back to a brand new job. Meaning like a job that like I didn't know the group, I didn't know how the group functioned, I didn't know the product, and the learning curve, even though I'd been at Microsoft for a while, was so steep. And so I was trying to learn how to be a parent and do the very best I could at that job. And at the same time learning and getting up to speed and, getting the kudos in that new group. I would never do that again because it's too much. So if you were to like if not later, if not now, when is a really good way of approaching it, because once baby comes along, like basically 5 years of your life are basically a lifeguard. And I know you have Jessica, but it's just my husband and I were both just, and for me, because I decided to be the primary caregiver, it took up all of my bandwidth to take care of a child. And then like, I could have done, if I had done like work that I was really familiar with, that I could just kind of go through the motions as I'd had like 2 hours of sleep, like that would have been fine. But trying to learn a whole new program and meet new people, it was just totally exhausting. So I think it's good that you're putting in all the foundational pieces now, because updating is a lot easier than basically creating stuff from scratch. So I think it's great that you're doing it now.
Thank you. And it means that while I'd like this amount of exercise, I'd like this, I'd like that, I like the other thing, I'm willing to understand the give and take now. Sort of like in the few months that Jessica was not pregnant, she was on a horse race. After she felt a little bit better, there were like sparks flying off of her hands and stuff, and she's trying to get stuff done in between. And so that's the place we're in, this if not now, then when. But it's actually exciting because we know there's a reason for it. It's not like, well, this is an eternal sacrifice for the rest of our lives. We've talked about building these things. Let's get her done now.
I hate to tell you, but it's probably a sacrifice that you'll be making for the next 20 years of your life, of which is ratcheting down slightly. in different ways. Like it's almost like you're a jackknife, and like in the very beginning you just use the scissors and maybe, something else, and then later on you're like having to use you don't use the scissors anymore, but you use like, the toothpick, you're just like all these other tools walking around. But it's the time change it, like you don't spend as much time intensive where you have to be there all the time, playing with them, hanging out with them, connecting with them, feeding them. And then what happens is they're at school, so a good portion of their time gets taken at school. So you have a 9 to 3 chunk to get work done. And then it's by the time they're middle school, it's, they're on their own. So you have a good portion of your time back, but then it's kind of like you're like a cop looking for like, drunkenness, disorderly behavior, and having difficult conversations with the kids. So it's just a different kind of tool set, and the time that you spend is different, but the actual number of hours is the most intensive for the next 5 years, and then it will kind of ratchet down. But it's good that did I tell you about this guy that I met he was talking about a devotional path? Did I tell you about that last week? I can't remember what we talked about.
Well, we didn't speak last week, so probably not.
Okay, so I met this guy on my retreat in Hawaii, and tell me if I told you already about this. And he said he really, when he was in high school, he wanted to get to know God. And so he ran off and joined a monastery, and he was just like a monk in a monastery. And the monastery guy said, you need to go out and see life. Go to this path. And he said it was called the Sun Path. And the Sun Path person said, you need to get married, you need to have a kid, you need to be basically what some models call the householder path. And he went and did all those things, like in a matter of a year, just like he went and became a monk, shaved his head, and was doing it for 5 years. So he got married, and he had this marriage, of which was not necessarily a happy marriage. They're now separated. The mother has all sorts of mental illness issues, and he said the guy described the Sun Path as a devotional path. It's when you learn to devote, you learn how to give up your needs for the needs of someone else that you love dearly. So it may be your wife, but when you have kids, it's a devotional path. You learn that you didn't even have it. You didn't even realize that you could give as much as you give. And I know you give a lot already, but when you have a kid, you'll find yourself, okay, you don't work out as much. You may not ship that class. And it's okay, because it's about learning in some ways. You're not maybe learning about how to give that class, but you're learning how to completely devote your life to one thing and one thing only, and give it all your love and energy. So it's a devotional path, which I don't know if you think of it that way, but I can now look back at my life and say, well, I didn't think of it as a spiritual path, but it was absolutely a spiritual path. It was a devotional path where I learned how much I could give and didn't even know that, and how much I could give in love and didn't even know that was in me unless I had kids.
So there's a lot of beautiful learnings coming our way, a lot of them. We're actually going for our first ultrasound this afternoon.
Oh, exciting. Oh,
so that's
wow.
why we had to squeeze this and get this in earlier, is we have the ultrasound.
Wow.
Today.
Okay, so they have a little recording, and it's like a 3D model. Now, like when I had it was like this blurry little, like barely could
They
observe.
have a recording. Jessica asked me to bring the phone to post this on Facebook or something like that, because we're supposed to be cranking up. We've got a Facebookian team supposed to be cranking that up by the time this is live. And so I will record it as a video, and we may do some other fun video stuff. I'm most curious. There is more than an inkling in me, but who knows, that we could have more than one. And
wait,
and
what?
so,
What? Is there twins in your family?
Oh, there are twins in my family, and she's gestating much more quickly or much bigger this time around in half the time than she was last time. So who knows? It's entirely possible it's not. In my world, it's entirely possible it is. But we'll know later today. And I might be here next week going, nope, we're good. Or I might be going, boy, am I on the devotional path.
What week is it? 6 weeks?
6 weeks, 5 days today.
6 weeks, 5 days. Okay. So they can't tell the gender at this point, or can they?
I don't believe so. I'm not sure. They can date it and they can hear supposed to be, but you're not supposed to be crushed if they don't hear heartbeats yet.
Okay.
So,
Wow. I just saw Grace and Frankie, which is my new favorite show on Netflix, and they talk
yep,
about a gender party. Is that now a thing in your generation where you have a gender party?
I have no
Where you actually you
idea.
have like all these parties for just like weddings, you have like the pre-party, you have like the engagement announcement, and then you actually have the pre-party for the wedding, then you have the post-party, so 'cause not everyone can make it. You have parties on both coasts, so like a wedding now has been like extended into, instead of one event, like seven different events that you could. So similarly, I guess for babies, they're having like the baby shower, they have the announcement of the gender, there's all these, then
I
there's
need
the
to
actual
get with the
birth.
program. This sounds like lots of gifts.
I know, so you need to get registered and figure out all those moments to
We are
rake in
registered.
the
We're
loop.
registered from baby attempt number one. We are
Okay,
registered.
good. So now you've got it down. All right. So I have to share
Please, please.
I have two things that were related to developing classes. So I think you know that I'm doing this online class. And so I've been it's a 6 week online class for women-owned small businesses and LGBTQ and veteran-owned businesses. So it's the class that I'm offering. Well, and did I tell you what the class was like? Had I talked to you about the class?
So,
So it's so there are 25 people, right? Some of which are like mysterious name, like numbers, just 206, 812-5964, something like I don't know what to do with it, right? Then there are other ones that are names like Mommy Pussycat or something. Like I don't know what to think. So
this is already a grooving class. I can tell. And the culture clashes that are going to take place in this
it's like
class.
I don't know what to think. And then I have the first row of people who have videos. One has them in the car, so all I see is the ceiling of their car.
Yeah, I
The
get it.
other one is faced like this, so it's like it gives you this cue that they don't give a
Like Blues
crap about.
Brothers, where the flashlight is on John Belushi after they've been pulled over.
Exactly. I'm not sure what to expect because it gives this little clue like, I don't care about you. I'm not really here. I'm not really here. And then the two of them are facing me. And so we do this class, and I think, I don't even know how I'm supposed to do this class. So the first part is it gives them some content. The format is I give them some content. And then I have a series of questions that I have them, I go through one client, and then I have them answer those questions on their own so that they get like coaching as they're going through the experience. And so as I'm coaching, the first woman, this cat, it's just this body and this tail
Come
is
to grab the
growing
camera.
across her face.
We have had classes where everyone has had a kitty cat, and at some point I've gone, all right, pull out the cat.
Because it's so distracting. You just see this tail
I love
going
it.
by. Like, I don't know how people. So I'm getting exposed to these online classes, and it's hilarious. And I'm having people, because it's Zoom, I'm having people text in their comments or questions. So I'm getting all those. So I know that there's more than 4 people there, and that people are participating. But it's been so it's so comical and interesting doing these classes. So
We have a goal, a crazy goal. I have no idea how to hit it. I have no idea if we'll even come close. But to offer a group coaching class at like 1/10 of the price we've offered anything at the past, to see if we can get like 1,000-person class this fall.
yeah.
And that's the limit on Zoom. I have no idea what we'll do with this or how we'll organize it, but I'm betting there's a way we can do it. And so the number of kitty tails that we're going to have going across the screen at any one time.
It's just hilarious. I mean, it's been really interesting and fun to do. And one thing that I was so proud of myself, because usually it takes a lot of time to do content, as you know. So like if you have one class, the first time I did that class, the first time I ever did a group class, it took seriously 30, 40 hours to create that content. It was not for the same material. It was about learning about the predictive index, but it took a lot of time, like 30, 40 hours. Then because it was a customized version of this class for this group. And then last time I did the first class, it took like probably a good 20 hours to do. And I thought, I can't do this. Like if I do 20 hours of each of these classes, I'm going to die. Like I don't want to put in that much time. So this last time I put in 5 hours. It was a class on strengths. So I developed 5 hours of content. And then I delivered the same class to an offline group, and then they gave me feedback on what they liked, what they didn't like, and then I delivered it the next day. So in 7 hours, was able to do start to finish. But it was interesting because if you have like a group, a beta test that just you deliver your content raw, like whatever it's in, they'll give you all the feedback to make it good enough to deliver. And so I was really happy that I was able to shrink down from like 20 hours to 7 hours just by and doing it in a way that was joyful for me, because I love working with this offline group, and it was really interesting to connect with them. And I got something out of both experiences. Like both experiences grew me as an individual. Just listening to people's responses grew me as much as coaching people and the growth that they get from that. So yeah, so it was really interesting. So basically from 21 hours or so down to 7, so down to 2/3 of what it was before. Is that right? 1/3.
Yeah, 1/3. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that gets to this whole theme of getting things done. Part of getting things done is how can I make it more efficient
Yep.
so that I'm not spending nearly as much time on it. And I know that's something I've been challenging my coaching clients a lot with recently is either delegation or saying, all right, you've had 20 hours to do it. Now you have 7. Let's find a way. Or with Jessica and I with this vault, she's going, I'm completely exhausted. We've got this piece, we've got that piece, we got the next piece. I'm like, all right, I'm throwing on the coaching hat, baby. If you were my coaching client, we're going to work backwards. We're going to come up with a deadline. We're going to work backwards from there. We're going to fill in the dots with what we've got. So we're not Parkinson lawing it, which is taking an infinite amount of time to get this done. Instead, we're going to deliberately make it tight, make it finite, and we'll find a way to fill in from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's better. It's what's funny is that I'm beginning to think like just do it the day before. Like I would do it like
Completely.
like 2 weeks before, a month before, and then like forget about it. Do it like a week before, or maybe the day before. Like for the last couple of ones, the first one I did a month before because then I went on a retreat and didn't think about it. But the one before that, I did it maybe the day before I was meeting these gals for doing an offline class, and I was like, well, this is going to be what it's going to be, and I can't do that much research, but it's only 30 minutes anyway, so how much research do you need to give? Like, since I have a ton of personal experience, what more do I need to offer? I think I'm good. So, yeah, it's been very, very interesting just kind of revving that. And this week I also had an event at Amazon, which was really cool. This event it's been being planned for, I don't know, for like since December.
Yeah.
And to have it finally come into fruition was really exciting. So we were talking about, and hopefully we're going to get the content from Amazon and then put it on YouTube, because some of it has Amazon employees. We have to cut that out. But yeah, it's really exciting. So that was fun too. And I spent probably 6 hours getting that ready. And before I would have spent a lot of time, but it was like I met someone for lunch. I went with someone for dinner. I came up with the questions. I met 2 people for lunch. So, that counts in the time. So that was like 2 hours, and then 1 hour, and then actually doing the event, which was 2 hours, and, 6 hours, like from start to finish for a 2-hour program. And it went really well. So we had I think 400 people. So it was awesome. Yeah.
And I'm convinced that tighter, condensed format, and even if you took 2 hours, you step away from 2 hours, and then you're back in for 2 hours, that to me, actually, it's surfing that wave of energy. Yes, there's some homework we want to do in advance, but we can, good card-carrying vegan here, we can overcook the goose,
Right.
so to speak,
Yes,
by
absolutely.
digging in, and then you get more nervous and more nervous, and the more nervous you get, the more you want to back up anything that you've had, and all of a sudden, let's put my life on hold for a day, for a week, for a month, because I've got to get this done. Whereas if you just said, I'm going to drop myself in the day before, the morning of, whatever it is that you do need, so that you don't completely stress yourself out, and then you just dive into it, you'll find chances are, particularly if you've done it more than a time or two, it'll go as well or better, and you can live the rest of your life.
Right. Right. And you know what? It's iterative. I guarantee you'll go through, and
Absolutely.
I'll go through these three, you're going to go through this coaching program. I'll go through this, 6-month program, and I'll change it. I'll change the stuff. The next time would be like, no, I think I want to do, or I'll just keep it. And it's good enough. It doesn't have to be perfect, because what was reminded to me the day before, they said, you know what? It's really, if you're connected to the person, if you're connected to everyone there, that's the only thing you really need to do. Is because if people really feel heard and connected, and it's like trusting that, like, you and I have enough skills in facilitating and leading and asking questions, that everything else will be fine. And
And
that's what happened.
I love that you say good enough. Good
Yeah,
enough is great. Good
yeah.
enough is excellent. The desire for extreme excellence and perfection causes us to crash and burn, or to literally check out of this planet a good decade or more sooner, because we put so much emphasis on something that, well, you've done it. We've both done it, but you've done it, that you've actually mentioned on air, where you prepped something so much that you had too much to give people, and
Hmm.
you cooked them because of all the tremendous work you had done in advance.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes it's like you give them too much information and they get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So was that was actually my first time I'd ever did an online coaching thing, and it was because they were trying to learn the technology, because people didn't know what Google Docs were, people didn't really know what Zoom was, people didn't know
Yep.
where the text box was zoomed, they didn't know what a text box was, they didn't know how to get their camera set up. So that should have been just like one session, right? Just getting the tech set up. But it was like that, and then it was like training them how to do Google. It was just like a disaster, because it was that, and then like meet that plus introducing everyone and getting everyone to know each other. It was just too much, too many things that happened in in what I was hoping would be one session, and it just didn't go as well, because all the things I wanted to coach them on, I didn't even I was lost in all the tech stuff and all the introductions, and anyhow, I
Got
lost
it.
sight of the connection piece. So anyway, so that, and can I tell you my other Amazon thing? So in
Please,
Amazon,
please.
it's downtown, and so Amazon occupies in downtown Seattle probably like a 10-block radius of like a square. I mean, it's huge.
Wow.
It's most of downtown Seattle right now. It's offices, and originally Paul Brainerd had wanted that to be a huge park, where it would be like Grand Central Park, and he was willing to spend money, like his money, to have it be a beautiful park with like green spaces, all that stuff. And the city's like, no, it's going to cost too much, which it would have been beautiful to do that. So Amazon came, and it's just like rows of concrete buildings, and they're really tastefully done. But there's no green areas at all. So Jeff Bezos wanted to have a place where people could actually have some connection with nature. So there's this big sphere, and it has these like octagonal glass. It's all glass, so it's almost like a terrarium. And inside that terrarium are 400,000 species of plants from South America, Southeast Asia, and it's based on every single, like, it's a circle that you go around,
How
like
big
the
is this sphere to
Guggenheim.
wrap our minds around this?
It's probably half a city block. So there's, and you know the Guggenheim, how it's like you circle around and you have like different exhibits that go around in a circle. Well, it has a similar kind of design where you can go around, and each time you go around, you have a different set of species of plants that you see. and a different kind of experience. So one loop around you go, and there's like individual people on their PCs working, they're plugged in. So they're like next to a big set of plants would be like a plug, and it's like very discreet. So it's on a railing, and then you plug in your computer and you just sit there next to all these beautiful plants.
Wow.
So there's seating around the this one area, so it's like groups of seats and stuff, and then another one you round around, and there's like a coffee shop, so you can get coffee, and then you round around, and then it's like a perch, like it's a tree house in the middle of the scape, this little urban scape, or I guess greenscape. And so you walk and the planks are all rough like you would as if you're walking in the Amazon or something. So it has these like planks that you feel like they're kind of like rough, like it's like a real footbridge. And then it has this perch where a whole team can sit in a circle surrounded by, and the perch is just all made of natural wood. And then there's like a seating around in three-quarters of a circle, and people have team meetings in this thing. And then you go around, and then there's like more beautiful seating. And then there's another one where you are in the middle of another terrarium. So you're just like you're in a glass orb, and you're surrounded by green on the top, side, and bottom. And it's
How did that
a
feel?
circle. It was just amazing. It really felt great. And I said to the gentleman who was giving me a tour, I said, well, could you work here the whole, I mean, I would just come into work and hang out here the entire time. It's like, yeah, it's not a problem. People have meetings over here, and yeah, you can work at home, you can go into office, or you can go sit and you could sit in here the whole time. It's like, wow. The offices of the future are just, Amazon is one of the most amazing companies that I've ever seen. Honestly, it's one of the best managed company, and unlike some of the experiences that companies in the Bay Area, it really has done a lot. I mean, it's caused some hardship for real estate prices, but it's done more good than harm. And I don't even like the harm is, certain people have had hardship, right? Just the real estate prices and the traffic have gone up. That's the only harm, but that's really true of any economic growth, regardless of who did it, right? If it's just one person or 10 people, what does it matter? So anyways, that was my experience at Amazon. So cool in their sphere.
What does it, so the sphere makes me think of what we can do with our homes, and having lived in an Earthship, a home built into the earth in Taos, New Mexico, where you had this giant planter along this whole way of 12-foot high glass all facing to the southeast. It makes me think of what we can do with our homes, because why can't we make our environment more, green it up, more water, more inviting? What does it, from a getting things done perspective, visiting, working with Amazon, what does that do for your fire or your direction?
Yeah, if you have that kind of experience.
Well, no, for you had an experience there with
Right.
Amazon. You went in, something that you've been working on for years came to fruition.
Right.
Did you leave there going, all right, now I want to do this, now I want to do the other, or just,
I see.
wow, that was cool?
Yeah, so from my own personal experience, so I went in, we were talking about the intersection of technology and consciousness, and what is that intersection, and what are the cool technologies that they're offering, and can technology really lead you to a higher consciousness? What are the merits? What are the challenges? So that was and it's only been we've been planning it since December of last year, so it hasn't been that long. It hasn't been a full year. That would be scary. But yeah, we were talking. That was the topic, and we had a gentleman from Stanford University come, and he's a professor from Stanford, and he's created a nonprofit called Consciousness Hacking, and it's about creating technologies to increase consciousness. So, so it was, first of all, it was really, it was nice to be in the presence of the two people that we talked to. They're great. It was with the Heartfulness group, which I really appreciate and love the work that they're doing. So it felt good. Like the stuff that we were doing felt good. I mean, it was very purposeful. It was very intentional. And my favorite part of the whole thing was at the end, people were sharing their challenges with working at Amazon and asking basically coaching questions. And it felt really great to be able to offer help because that's my sweet spot, right? I know the world that they're talking about in terms of tech, and I know how to coach, and I know the intersection of spirituality and consciousness. Like I'm familiar with that territory. So that felt really good. It felt like a direction that I'd like to go in more. I mean, it's naturally suited to my skills. So that was fun.
I
Yeah,
can't wait. I can't wait to hear what comes next from it.
I know. Me neither. I have no idea what will come next, but minimally I know the intersection of those three things are really of interest to me. So
I just had, where is it? 7 Principles of Mindfulness for Leadership, I believe it was called, that I had on, let's see, the exact title earlier today was 7 Practices of a Mindful Leader, which was the intersection of consciousness and business.
yeah.
It was the interview I just did an hour ago.
Oh, okay, cool. You'll have to send it to me because I'd like to, or the name of the author so I can.
Mark Lesser, can't recommend him enough.
Oh yeah, I have
And
him. I think I have him on for. I have him on for sometime later in the year.
excellent. He's worked with Chade Meng Tan of Google to build a whole mindfulness practice for Googlers.
Yeah.
So it'll be right up your alley.
Yes, that's exciting. So tell me about the so getting to the beach. What?
Yeah, getting to the beach.
That's
briefly,
curious to me.
We'll cover a couple of these quickly, and my notes have disappeared, which is fine. We'll make it work.
Getting to the beach. Here's
Here.
what's left: getting to the beach, dad in the gym, ultrasonic tour. What Mike Tyson? That kind of sounds interesting.
So I got down to Florida last time I was there. I did a bunch of running in between golf courses and stuff, and along trenches. And this time I just felt it calling to the water. And my parents get up late. My mom gets up about noon. My dad gets up 10:30.
Wow.
And so I'm just waiting to go somewhere to do anything. And I in the past would coach when I would visit them, but I wanted to take that time and be extra present with them this time around.
Mm-hmm.
And so it wasn't until the third morning that I finally stole the car with permission. And I took myself to the beach and I got back out to my open water swims, which I love doing.
Fun.
Oh my God, was that awesome. And I immediately put a routine back in place to get myself to the beach each morning. I met some really fun people on the beach at sunrise one morning. One guy's like, "Hi, my name's Bob. Come join the group. Meet some new friends of yours."
Wow.
It was just so cool.
Wow. Very welcoming.
Getting out there for the start each day and putting a new routine in place wherever you go. And this one actually had to do with open water swimming and beach and sunrise.
Nice.
It was amazing. And so I'm so looking forward, not just to seeing my family, but whenever I go away, if I don't have a routine in place, I feel like I'm kind of living somebody else's life or my life.
I totally understand what you're talking about. I completely agree. It's almost your first step should be figuring out what is my routine. You know,
Bingo.
Yeah, because otherwise you're like, I've lost my routine and I don't know what's happening. I've had that. Yeah. My husband's been sick and I lost all my routine because of that. And I've been sick.
And Jessica is not sick, thankfully, but she is first trimester down.
I get it.
And so it's trying to figure all of that out. Dad in the gym was just trying to help him build that routine, get him back in the gym because routine is so powerful for each of us. And he's coming back from being a little bit down, not down emotionally, but physically, and getting that routine back in place.
Good.
Mike Tyson in the 17th. I cracked one tooth after I met Jessica when we were on book tour, 2 teeth on doing my bike ride across the country many years ago, getting into the suburbs, getting into West Chicago and riding my bike over potholes so bad that I cracked 2 teeth.
Ow.
And the combination of those teeth, having the funds and the ability to do it now, and having wisdom teeth that were cracked as well, I had 7 teeth pulled 8 days ago. And along with some infections cleared up, all at the same time. They said they were going to sedate me because they had tried pulling one and it hadn't worked a week before without sedation. Sedation didn't take. I didn't bother to even tell them this. I'm just like, all right, this hurts. Let's just get this dang thing done with.
Oh my God.
And so I have been in a world of hurt the last week where it's felt like Mike Tyson has just pounded on my face.
Oh my God. Which teeth were pulled?
Uh, Two on the side, halfway toward the back, one up above, halfway toward the back, and then the wisdom teeth. So you can't really see any.
Yeah, I can't see any. Okay.
They do affect chewing at the moment, and I'll be getting implants so that I will have all of my full teeth back, so to speak, or my full smile back, and then we'll deal with that front tooth that I injured in a speed skating-ish. I was on my speed skating.
Well, I don't see any injury right now, so I don't see anything now. But you're saying it's there.
I won't
Yeah.
belabor it. But it has been a time of I get to get things done. I have to get things done. How gentle and kind and loving can I be on myself? What really needs to get done? Let's make sure that gets done. What can we let that slide? And so through the pain of it, and I didn't want to take much pain meds, narcotics certainly off the table, and ibuprofen and slows recovery. We've had experts on talking about the dangers of NSAIDs. Acetaminophen, really bad for your kidneys, so didn't want to take much of that. And so it's what can I do through this process, and how efficient can I be? What can I let go? And then what can I find a way to get her done? And so this tunnel of pain, I guess, for the last week has actually been a real positive. Certainly coming out of it is a huge positive, because on a scale of 1 to 10, I was banging a 20 most days.
Oh my gosh. Okay, what helped? What helped? What was the best? What's it from best to least effective? What was the stack rank?
2 ibuprofen and 2 Tylenol the first day. That helped a bunch. A homeopathic cream or something, gel that I put on my teeth, that helped.
Like an arnica kind of thing?
Arnica was like one of 10 different things that was in it.
Okay.
And then was just having one event that I knew was going to lead to the next, that was going to lead to the next, so that I wasn't on a high amount of painkiller, but I was more in the present activity rather than in the pain.
Right, so you're not thinking about the pain because you're talking to a guest. So, is that, okay, got it. Wow.
Yeah. So I tried to take more rest. I know I tried going uphill skiing a few days ago. I only made it halfway up the hill, and I'm like, oh, too much pain. We got cross-country skis. Finally, Jessica and I got out. That was just that movement, which wasn't that hard. That definitely helped. And having activities, even if they were work-related activities. So this whole concept of just rest and you'll feel better, there's a certain amount you don't want to dive into or burn off your chi. You need it for
healing,
for healing and working on that inflammation. But if you just lay in bed, that pain is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Right, in your mind, right? Your mind is like, how about this? How long is it going to take?
One evening I was in so much pain, I was like, all right, here's what you're going to do. Let's focus on the pain.
Yeah, and how did that work?
Feel it, and all of a sudden it's morning. I fell asleep because I wasn't resisting it.
Ah, interesting.
So it wasn't biting back.
I love it. I know you have to go, but next time we're on, I'll have to tell you a story about something that was almost identical to this.
I look forward to it. Take a note on that. Any last words you want to share with people? Because I've got to get one quick coaching session in and get Jessica to her ultrasound.
Woo-hoo! All right. I'm going to look forward to seeing it on your Facebook page, the ultrasound.
We'll do a video up there, yes.
Okay, I'm good. How about you? Any final words?
I'm a kind, gentle, easy, good coach. I don't teach you to push through the pain. That's not what I'm talking about at all. However, come up with a goal. Work backwards. Tighten up those deadlines and ask yourself, if not now, then when? And you will surprise the heck out of yourself. The amount you'll get done will be tremendous, but more importantly, how you will feel about yourself from these accomplishments, large or small, will give you the courage and the strength to do even more with your life. That's all I've got.
Woo!
I guess above and beyond all else, shine bright.
Woo-hoo!
It means so much to me that you're listening to the show. Would love your support in any way by giving me comments below, or to subscribe to the show, or share the show with friends. Thank you again for your support. Love and blessings.